نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I hope that all of you are doing good, sisters, and yes, welcome once again to this Qaida class. We are going to have session number 13th today, and inshallah, our topic will be sort of a will be a sort of a continuation of the topic that we were doing yesterday. So yesterday we discussed about the topic Sukoon. So let's have like a sort of a revision and then we will inshallah continue with that. So Sukoon is, this is like a very basic thing as well, very simple thing as well, right? And but for what happens for Sukoon is that this is like a short symbol or something like that. But what happens is that there are so many things that you need to remember with Sukoon as well. This is like a small topic, but actually really very important as well. Why very important? You will inshallah see as we move on with the lesson, inshallah. So for the sukoon, what we discussed is that this is like a symbol, this kind of a symbol, or sometimes written like this as well. And in certain cases, you might not find any of these two on a letter. So, for example, if any letter does not have any symbol, that too means that that letter has a sukoon on it. Okay, so if you don't find any like any symbol of fatha, dhamma, kasra, or any other symbol on a letter, like it means that there is like a sakin on it. That means that it is like a silent letter here. So sukoon, sukoon is mean in English we can just say it means a rest, right? Sukoon means rest. So this sukoon is also, called jazm as well. So whenever any letter of Arabic has this symbol on top of that, right, this always comes on top. So whenever any letter has that on top of it, so it means that that letter is silent, or this is like vowel-less letter there, okay? So because all the three basic symbol of fatha, dhamma, and kasra, they are short vowel sounds, right? Short vowel sounds. But when there is sukoon, it means that this is like a vowel-less sound. That was the first point we discussed about sukoon. So you would find this sukoon written like this. For example, we can take the letter ta, and I have placed the sukoon in both of these ways on top of it. Okay. Also, I mentioned that the sukoon does not come at the start of any word. Why? Because this is a silent, right? This is vowel-less sound. So how are we supposed to articulate that word? Articulate that word if the sukoon comes at the start. For example, if this ta comes at the start, it has a sukoon on it. How are we supposed to articulate this? Okay, so by this logic, sukoon cannot come at the start, so it will come in the middle or at the end of the word. Okay, so the next point is that how are we supposed to articulate a letter which has a sakin? Sakin is the sukoon, okay? Sakin is sukoon. So how are we supposed to articulate that letter which has a sakin? So because it is like a silent letter, so how are we like the what's the purpose of it on a letter? So we will inshallah see that as we move forward. So we also, did this exercise with all of the alphabets, and we placed the sukoon on these all 29 alphabets of Arabic, and before them we attached a hamza with either fatha, kasra, or dhamma. Right? Why we did that? Again, because of the reason we cannot articulate the sukoon unless and until there is something before it, right? Unless and until there is a vowel sound on a previous letter to it. So in all of these cases, we have a hamza just for practice. There can be any other letter as well. So there is hamza, and we have placed fatha, kasra, and dhamma on top of it or below it. Okay, so the first case, let's see this is that ab, ib, ub, ats, its, uts. So this is the first row I have just said. So we did all of this exercise, and at the end of the exercise, I kept mentioning certain points with regards to the letters that sometimes when there is sukoon, you make like kalkala thing, or sometimes when there is sukoon on this letter, you will make a jerk. and when sukoon is on this letter, we try not to make a kalkala. So these were the things. So I thought, maybe you will get confused with all of the things that I've just mentioned all together to you. So that is why we are having this sort of revision today. So for now, you just remember that this is a vowel-less. So in all of the cases, what you are doing is that you are just say joining the sound of the letter which has a sakin on it with the previous letter, and you just say ab, ib, ub. So this thing will be happening in all of this exercise, right? From the start till the end of the exercise, this is the case that will happen. So if you're really, really very beginner, what you can just remember is this thing, okay? That we join the sakin with the sound of the previous alphabet, which has a basic symbol of fatha, dhamma, or kasra. So that is the thing that you are supposed to remember for now. If you find it hard to memorize so many things all at once, but for those who are like interested, they want to go into further details of these things. So that is why I'm mentioning these points that you will find next. So, as you see all of this exercise, I, mark these like certain alphabets here. For example, I mark this ba here, the ab, ib, ub, and then I mark this with jeem as well, aj, ij, uj, right? When jeem had a sakin, and I mark this dal as well, ad, id, ud. And the fourth one was this alpo, ilpo, and opo. This was the fourth alphabet with the sakin, and I, made you mark this. The fifth one is qaf letter, the heavy qaf. And we say aq, iq, and uq. So these were the five. So let's, just talk about these fives. When they have a sakin on it, what happens? What is the difference, in all of these 29 alphabets? Because all of these alphabets, they have a sakin here, but still, the qualities and the way we articulate the sakin on them differs a bit, right? So first of all, let's discuss these five alphabets, right? That what happens when they have a sakin on it. So yes, first point I have mentioned here in this blue, okay? The first point is this one, that there are five alphabets from the 29 letters of Arabic, which, when I have a sakin on top of these, they make a, like a bouncing back sound, or the sound repeats, you can say, or there is this vibration that happens, all of these words, or there is an echo produced. All of these, alternative terms you can use. So these are the five letters of qaf, ta, ba, jim, dal. Okay, qaf, ta, ba, jim, dal. These are the five letters. When they have a sakin on top of them, their sound bounces back, right? Qalqala. These are called qalqala letters. So qalqala word, this is like Arabic, obviously, terminology, the Tajweed terminology, which in English means that there is movement, right? There is movement, or there is this unrest or vibration that you can say, which is produced when these letters are articulated with a sakin on top of these, right? Why this happens? Because, because of the qualities of these letters, that these letters, when we articulate these five letters from their articulation points, what happens is that uh, you know the flow of air is, just as to zero, you can say. And that is why, because we are just, stopping the air, or at their articulation points, uh, so that the air does not come out of our mouth, and so that is why their sound bounces back because of that reason. For example, this qaf letter, we are articulating it like this, aq, up. For a second or two, we just do not let the air or any sound come out of our mouth. So that is why the sound kind of repeats or bounces back on these letters. So qalqala means movement. That the movement happens at the articulation point of these five letters, and we say aq, up, up, right? Ab. And we do this intentionally for these letters, because that is how, that is like the proper way of articulating these letters. So yes, for now, What you have remembered so far is that there are five letters. When they have a sakin, they make a kalkala, they make a movement, right? Vibration or echo. Okay. So then there are other letters which when have a sukoon, they are, they are just like very, you can say, uh, easy to articulate or just air comes out of our mouth. So let's discuss the second point with regards to this. First, we discussed kalkala. The second point, let's discuss this point here next, okay? This is like hums. Hums. We discussed this yesterday as well, that hums means whisper, right? That which is like a running of breath done when pronouncing a letter, or you can say when we are gently, the subtle removing the subtle air from our mouth when we are articulating certain letters. So that is what we call hums. Hums, okay? So this happens in like 10 letters, okay? 10 letters. So for now, I'll just say that just take the example of kaf and ta because it is quite prominent on these two letters. Kaf and ta. For example, let's attach hamza before these. Why? Because if these letters have a sakin, we cannot articulate them. So let's attach a hamza before the kaf and say ak, or let's say at at the end. You're supposed to articulate, just like a little air that comes out of your mouth, right? At, ak, just very small. This is very easy with regards to the other alphabets. For example, let's take the ha and say ah, ah, or let's take another alphabet which is like fa alphabet. You can take that as well. Af, af. It is very obvious in other letters of ha, fa, or tha, right? But in case of kaf and ta, I am just specifically mention these two letters because sometimes people miss this little air that comes at the end on letter kaf and ta. Okay, so that is why I've specifically mentioned these two here. So when these two letters, they will have a sakin on top of these, and you are articulating these, so you will have to just remove some air at the end. You are not supposed to overdo that as well, but you just remove like ak, ats, ak, ats, right? Like this. Okay, so 2 points that we have, we are supposed to just remember for now. The first one was Kalkala that we discussed, which had, something to do with the five letters. So the next thing is, hums, which is related to 10 letters. So, you need not to worry about memorizing these 10 letters for now. It's okay because the Kalkala is the most important thing for now. Okay, for now, you just try to remember the five alphabets of five letters of Kalkala. The hums and all of these things, you will inshallah learn these slowly and gradually. So let me just say all of these 10 letters of hums as well. These are like kaf and ta, right? And then eight remaining are fa, ha, sa, ha, and sheen, kha, sad, and seal. So these are just like other eight alphabets. Okay, so another thing for sukoon you are supposed to remember is letter hamza. So, this is just a special case with regards to the alphabet Hamza, that whenever alphabet Hamza is going to have a sakin on top of it, like when you are articulating it, you are supposed to make a jerk on it, like a sudden pause you are supposed to make. For example, this is like I have again attached a Hamza before Hamza, so we just say the first sound of Hamza with a fatha will be a, like this. And the second hamza has a sakin on it, so we will say a, a, right? Just like a jerk sound or a sudden pause that we make at the second hamza here. Okay, so this just happens on hamza. So for now, we have discussed 3 points. The first one was kalkala. The second one we discussed is hums, right? And the third one is the hamza related thing, which is like we make a jerk or sudden pause on it. Okay, so just like another thing, it's okay if if you get it for now, or even if you don't, it's okay. It's fine that way as well. So there are certain letters. For example, this ain, lam, mim, noon, and ra. For right, in all of these letters, when they have a sakin on top of these, what happens is that sometimes people unintentionally they make kalkala on these, like they make this movement that we discussed in kalkala here, this movement, this vibration, this echo on these alphabets as well, ain, lam, mim, noon, ra, right. But the case is that we should not make a kalkala on these letters, because kalkala is not a quality of these letters, right? Kalkala is not related to these letters. Kalkala is only related to the five letters of Kalkala, right? So these are not the letters of Kalkala. That is why we're not supposed to, make a double sound at these letters and say ah, ah, right? We're just not supposed to quickly move from the position of their articulation point of these letters. For example, when an Ain letter has a sakin on top, we do not say right? In order to avoid kalkala, I said that we just give a certain time to these letters at their articulation point. We just do not move suddenly from their articulation points. When ayn is articulated, which is the middle portion of the throat, we just give this articulation time and we say ah, ah, for example, let's take a word أعمالهم أعمالهم, right? This will not be as as sudden as it happens with kalkala, right? We say أعمال, right? أعمالهم, like this. So we should not move just so quickly like not like this. Same is the case with lam as well. When lam has a sakin, we're not supposed to say al, right? We're not supposed to just, shake the sound of lam with a sakin. We are supposed to say alhamdu, alhamdu. So what I'm doing is that I'm just, the tip of the tongue used for the articulation of lam is, just there at the articulation point of lams for some time. You know, we when I say I just do not move the tongue from the articulation point of lam for a second or two. And that is how I say alhamdu, and my lam does not move, right? This is the way we are supposed to avoid making kalkala. Same is the case with noon and meme and ra and all of these other letters as well, right? I just mentioned these here specifically. For example, in an, we are not supposed to say an, like the n, an. The sound should not echo, right? It should not bounce back when we say an, which we should say an, right? So that is what we do on these alphabets. And then there are certain letters which, when they have a sakin, it's as if you have just like everything, their sound and the air, it just stops in your mouth, like ow, like no air comes out of the mouth, no sound comes out of the mouth, and just like kind of a pause happens on their articulation points, and we say ow, or like ow, ow, right? So these are like these alphabets as well. So these are like little differences, or you can say a major difference as well when it with kalkala or hamza. So these are the differences you are supposed to just remember from the very start. You just try to remember these things from the very start, because these are very related to the way your articulation will make a lot of difference with these qualities of the letters and with all of these like little minute details as well. Okay, so even if we just discuss this basic topic of sukoon, right, still it had like so many little details with regards to the different alphabets of Arabic, right? From 29 alphabets we have to just remember 5 and then 1 and then 10 and the others. So you can just do that if you have like the capacity for now to remember these, inshallah. So we have just discussed all of this lesson, and what you can do is that you can just practice this exercise that you see in front of you. I've shared the PDF of this qaida as well. You can practice this on your own. Why the practice is important? Because these alphabets, they ba and then ta and then tha, these letters have the sakin. And obviously I have told you the differences between the letters when they have a sakin on top of these, the way they are articulated. You can just practice along with that. For example, the first word here is swibghin. Swibghin. So here, because there is a letter ba which has a sakin, so we just discussed that the ba is from these five letters of kalkala, which means that the sound will bounce back when we say swib, swibghin, swibghin. Okay, so the kalkala should be prominent. Swib, swibghin. The next again ba with the sakin, and we say subhan, subhan. Okay, like that. So let's take the other word, which is fitnatun. Fitnatun. Here the letter is ta letter with a sakin. We just discussed this ta as well, right? The ta is from these letters of hums, on which the little air is removed at the end when we articulate these. So we are supposed to say fits, fitnatun, fitnatun on ta. I'm making this intentional sound, which is fitnatun. This is very light sound. Fitnatun or matsrobatin, matsrobatin. Okay, so in again, the tha letter which has the same quality, and we say muthqalatun, muth, muthqalatun. For a tha letter, there isn't any whistle sound in it, but air is removed a little bit, and we say mathqalatun. Or when we say yuthbitu, yuthbitu. Okay, so in the same manner, this word here, ajrun, aj. So Jim letter here, which is a letter of Kalkala from the five letters of Kalkala, and we make sound like aj, ajrun. Or zajratun, zajratun. Okay, let's take this example here, which is yudkhila, yudkhila. Okay, here the letter with the sakin on top of it, so the sound bounces back and we say yud, yudkhilu. Okay, the next one again with dal, qadhan, qadhan. The sound bounces back on dal letter here. Let's take another example of this ha here, which is ahmadu. You see that the sound is not automatically bouncing back, right? Because this is not the quality of this letter. We say ahmadu. Rather, there is hams, the same quality we discussed with letter ta here or tha letter. So the same is case with ha here. Ahmadu, yahsabu, yahsabu, right? So that is the case here. Let's discuss another example of this letter here. Nut'imu, nutu, nutu. Okay, ta letter here from the five letters of Kalkala. So we say nutu. Ta letter, ta sound is bouncing back here. Nut'imu, nut'imu, or nutfatan, nutfa, nu and qa, nutfatan. Okay, so these are all of the examples. You can just practice this exercise on your own as well. Okay, inshallah, because our time is just like very short. So this example, nasrun, nasrun. So again, the sod letter here has this humps in it. So we say nasrun or faslun, faslun. Okay, so let's discuss this bod letter here. I told you this with regards to this bod here, right? That there are some letters, no sound or air just come out of your mouth. Okay, everything is just in your mouth. And we say qawban, qawban, qaf letter, and then bod letter. Qaw, qawban, qalban. On this letter, you are specifically supposed to, just avoid making kalkala here. You are not supposed to say qad, qad. You're not supposed to say this, bouncing back sound, because that is the quality of that dal letter, right? We say qadhan in dal letter. We are not supposed to do the same with the dad here, okay? Because dad here has a different quality. And we say qadban, qadban, or here nadratan, nadratan. We do not say nadratan, okay? So we say nadratan. Okay, I hope that things are a bit clear to you, inshallah. And again, a letter of kalkala, naq'an, naq, naq'an, maqrabatin, maqrabatin. Right? The sound bounces back. And let's take Ghain letter here. I told you that. Let's see the Ghain letter here. The Ghain letter here is just like the God. We're not supposed to, just say Lagh, Lagh. Okay, we're not supposed to make this echo sound. Rather, we say Laghun, Lagh. The sound just like kind of continues at the articulation point, and we say Laghun, Lagh. Right? Again, maghfiratun, magh. You can hear it, magh. Okay, we're not supposed to say maghfiratun, magh. The sound should not bounce back. So we say maghfiratun. Once again, why we are supposed to avoid this? Because kalkala is a quality of five letters with sakin on top of them. Okay. Okay, so kaf letter here, I discussed the kaf, right, the light kaf and ta and all of these letters which has hums. So run, zik, because this is kaf letter, you will hear a little, air that comes out afterwards. So I hope you can hear by Zoom as well. Run, run, or muksin, muk Muk. Okay. Muk thin. Okay. So that was the case with these. Let's discuss another one, which is lam here. I told you that for the lam letter as well, just like the ghain letter or ain letter, we're not supposed to, move it, move the sound of it, like the shake the sound of lam letter. We're not supposed to say mil, right? The sound should not bounce back on lam. We say milhun, mil. Milhun. The same is the case here. Alfun, al rather than al. So we say alfun. Okay. So same is the case with all of these other. And let's discuss an important one here, which is hamza, which is like a special quality of hamza when it has a sakin. So we make a jerk sound. Okay. Let's discuss mu'minun. Mu'minun, right? We do not say mu'minun. This should be very prominent when we say mu mu'minun, or lu lu'an, right? Lu'an, lu. So again, like a sudden pause here, okay? Shi'tum, shi shi'tum, or sha'nun, or ka'san, ka ka'san, sha'nun, shi'tum, lu'an, mu'minun. Okay, so this is the way we are supposed to do this exercise, okay? Lastly, we have like almost over, the time is a bit up as well, but let me just tell you a very important point for today, okay? Even though I told you that we're just discussing a very small topic of sukoon, but you saw that how so many things are just like attached with this topic. So same is the case with another terminology that we have done already, done this topic, which is the topic of tanween. So the tanween again has something to do with sakin. This is like a very interesting point. So we discussed that tanween is something, the double slant, like the double sound, you can say, the double two slanting lines above any letter or below any letter, or the inverted dhammas above, like the two dhammas on top of the letter. So they make the sound of an, in, and un. Right? We discussed this topic already, and we did this example of kitaban and kitabin, kitabun. Right? So I told you also that for the case of the fathatain tanween, the tanween of two fathas, we attach an alif at the end to that. Okay, so that is why you see a ba with alif attached to it here. But that does not happen with the case of kasratain or dhammatain. So let's see how it has something to do with sakin, because obviously apparently we do not see any sakin in all of these things here, right? Neither the sakin is there on the symbol of the tanweens, or you cannot see the sakin here in these words as well. So let's find out that sakin. Okay, so what happens is that there is a noon sakin hidden in tanween, right? The tanween of fathatain, kasratain, and dhammatain, they have a noon with a sakin hidden on it. Noon letter, and we discussed that. What is sakin? Sakin is this vowelless sound, or which makes a letter silent. So noon sakin is hidden in tanween. You are just supposed to remember this point very, very well. Okay, inshallah. So let's take the example of again these three words here we discussed here, right? Kitaban, kitabin, and kitabun. So at the like I told you as well that tanween always comes at the end of the words, or you can say at the last alphabet of the word. All right. So let's take the last alphabet of these three words here. Why? Because they have like a tanween on top of it. So here the ba letter has a tanween here, right? Tanween of fathatain. Here ba letter has a tanween of kasratain, and here the ba letter has a tanween of dhammatain. Okay, so these make the sound like ba fathatain or ba tanween ban. This made a sound like ba kasratain bin, and this made a sound like ba dhammatain bun. Okay, so what happens? Let's break the sound of this letter ba with a fathatain. If we try to write the sound, I'm talking about the sound it makes, like the bun sound, which I have written here in English, right? ban, like in this way, bun, uh, like not ban, okay, like bun sound. If we write this bun sound in the in simplified way, you can say, so what we will do is that we will just we will just take a ba letter with a fatha, which will make a ba sound. From this bun sound we have like a ba sound here, ba with a fathatain. And if we attach a noon sakin to this sound of ba with a fatha here, this will become ba fatha noon sakin ban. I told you that we articulate the letter with a sakin on top of it with the previous letter, right? With the previous letter with the symbol of fatha, dhamma, or kasra. So here we say ba fatha noon sakin ban, and we can write the sound of this bun like this as well. Ba fatha noon sakin. I've just joined these two together. Ba fatha noon sakin like this bun, and you see a noon sakin hidden in there. So you saw that how this tanween also has something to do with a sakin, on top of letter noon. So let's see the tanween of kasratain here. Even in the tanween of kasratain there is a noon sakin hidden. So ba kasratain bin, and if we break the sound again, simplify in a simplified way, we can write it like this as well: ba kasra plus you can say noon sakin, ba kasra noon sakin bin, again a noon sakin here. In the dhammatain tanween as well, ba dhammatain bun, and we see again ba dhamma noon sakin bun. So the same sound here, ba dhamma noon sakin bun, and same is the case with ba dhammatain bun. Okay, so was an important point. Why I mentioned this specifically here, you will inshallah see in the coming lessons. But for now, we have discussed quite many things related to topic of sukoon. So somehow the tanween topic is related to the topic of sukoon as well. So that is why I thought of mentioning this to you as well. Okay, so like time is quite a bit up. Jazakallah for joining today, sisters, and having patience. Ending the session with this dua, inshallah, that Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Take care, sisters. See you in the next session, inshallah.